When your body pauses before you do, a lot of people imagine muscle loss after 60 has to look dramatic. Severe weakness, a serious diagnosis, something obvious. But that's not how it usually begins. It often starts much quieter than that. You wake up in the morning, you sit on the edge of the bed, your feet touch the floor, and for a few seconds, you wait. Not because you're dizzy, not because you're in pain, just because your body isn't quite ready yet. If you're over 60, you may recognize that moment. And here's what makes it confusing. You eat well. You haven't avoided protein. You've done what you were told was right. So why does your body still hesitate? Why do your legs feel a little slower to respond? Why does standing up take more effort than it used to? Why does muscle loss seem to continue even though protein isn't missing? What most people never really explain is what's actually changing inside the body after 60. This isn't about eating more. It isn't about pushing harder. And it isn't about fixing something that's broken. It's about how muscles respond differently now, and why timing, signals, and coordination matter more than we realize. If you've ever thought, something feels off, but I can't explain why, this conversation is for you. And if those quiet moments, standing still, waiting for your body to catch up, feel familiar, you might want to keep watching. Have you noticed this too? Number 5. When the signal arrives late. Susan is 66. She lives alone. She still cooks her own meals. She still pays attention to what she eats. Most mornings, she stands in her kitchen with one hand resting lightly on the counter. Both feet are on the floor. Nothing hurts. But she notices something small. Her weight doesn't shift right away. Her legs feel like they need a moment before they fully engage. Susan eats enough protein. She hasn't skipped breakfast. So she wonders, why does this still happen? A common belief is that muscle works like a simple machine. Give it protein and it responds. But after 60, the body doesn't work on instant commands anymore. Think of protein like ringing a doorbell. The bell still works. The sound still goes through. But inside the house, the response is slower. After 60, muscles don't ignore protein. They often receive the signal later than they used to. Long-term studies that followed adults over 60 after 2018 noticed something consistent. Even when protein intake stayed the same, the signal that tells muscles to begin rebuilding tended to arrive more slowly. In simple terms, this means the ingredients are there. But the go message reaches the muscle late. That's why mornings can feel different after 60. Your body has been still for hours. Signals take a little longer to travel. Muscles need more time to shift from rest mode into movement. This isn't a weakness. It's timing. And this matters because when the signal arrives late, people often assume they need to eat more or push harder. But effort isn't always the missing piece. What may help more is giving your body a moment to coordinate. That might look like sitting on the edge of the bed for a few extra seconds, or standing still before taking the first step. Not forcing movement, just allowing the signal to finish traveling. Small pauses may help support smoother responses. Susan didn't change what she eats. She adjusted how she transitions. And that quiet change made her mornings feel steadier. This is the first key idea to hold on to. After 60, muscle loss is not always about what's missing. It's often about when the message arrives. That's one part of the picture. There's another piece that often shows up later in the day. Number 4. When blood flow arrives after the meal. George is 72. He lives in a small one-story home and likes to take a short walk after dinner. Most evenings, he steps into the hallway, turns toward the door, and then pauses. Not because he's tired, not because he feels unwell. He's noticed that if he rushes, his legs feel uncertain. If he waits a moment, things settle. George eats regular meals. He doesn't avoid protein. So the pause surprises him. Here's what often gets overlooked. Protein doesn't move through the body on its own. It needs something to carry it. Blood flow is what carries it. Think of nutrients like packages and blood flow, like delivery trucks. The packages can be ready. But if the trucks leave late, delivery still takes time. After 60, blood flow doesn't always change direction as quickly as it used to. When you eat, circulation gradually shifts toward digestion. When you stand or start walking, circulation needs to shift again toward your muscles. That transition can take longer now. Long-term studies that followed adults over 60 after 2019 noticed a common pattern. Blood flow to working muscles often becomes less synchronized with movement than it was earlier in life. In simple terms, this means your muscles may be waiting, not because food is missing, but because blood flow hasn't fully caught up yet. That's why evenings can feel different after 60. Your body has already changed gears once during the day. By night, it may need a little more time to change directions again. This isn't a sign of damage. It's a timing issue. When blood flow arrives after movement instead of before it, people may feel unsteady for a moment. That moment is easy to mistake for weakness. What may help is allowing circulation time to adjust. For George, that means standing quietly for a few seconds before stepping forward, letting his body finish the handoff. From digestion mode to movement mode. He didn't walk less. He didn't eat more. He simply stopped rushing the transition, and that small pause often made his steps feel steadier. This matters because muscle strength after 60 isn't only about nutrition. It's also about when support arrives. That's another part of the picture. There's one more layer that often gets overlooked. Number 3. When inflammation turns the volume down. Alan is 64. He still works part-time and spends most afternoons at home. In the early evening, he often stands up from his favorite chair. There's no sharp pain, no sudden dizziness, but his legs feel muted, like the strength is there, just a little harder to reach. Alan eats regular meals. He gets enough protein, so he wonders why his body doesn't respond the way it used to. You can think of inflammation like background noise in a room, not something loud or alarming, just a low, steady hum you don't always notice. After 60, many bodies carry a small amount of this ongoing noise. It doesn't show up as an illness. It doesn't always feel like pain, but it can quietly turn the volume down. Muscle signals still get sent. Blood flow still shows up, but the message doesn't land as clearly as before. Long-term studies that followed adults over 60 after 2020 noticed a common pattern. Low-level, ongoing inflammation often goes along with muscles, responding a little less clearly, even when eating habits and daily activities stay the same. In simple terms, the system is still working. It's just dealing with more interference. That's why some movements feel harder later in the day. Your body has been processing signals all day long. By evening, the background noise may be higher. This doesn't mean something is wrong. It means the system isn't as quiet as it used to be. And when signals feel faint, many people try to compensate by pushing harder, standing up faster, moving through it. But force doesn't always help when the volume is turned down. What may help is reducing the noise. That might look like slowing transitions, allowing a brief pause before standing, giving your body a moment to settle before asking it to respond. Alan didn't add more effort. He added more awareness. And that small shift may help movements feel clearer and more controlled. This is another key idea to hold on to. After 60, muscle changes aren't always about loss. Sometimes they're about signals getting drowned out. There's one more piece that often helps make sense of all this. Number 2. When coordination, not strength, is the issue. Carol is 71. She lives on her own and keeps a steady routine. In the afternoon, she often walks from the living room to the kitchen. Halfway there, she slows down not because she's tired, but because her steps feel slightly out of sync. Nothing hurts. She isn't worried about falling. She just notices that her body feels better when she moves a little more deliberately. Carol eats well. She hasn't lost interest in food. So the hesitation surprises her. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. After 60, strength and coordination don't always change at the same pace. Think of your body like a group of people carrying a table together. Each person may still be strong, but if they don't lift at the same moment, the table wobbles. That's coordination. Your muscles may still have strength available, but they need clearer timing signals from the nervous system to work smoothly together. Long-term studies that followed adults over 60 after 2018, looking at movement and balance, noticed a common pattern. Many changes people feel aren't due to muscles being weaker, but to muscles working slightly out of sync. In simple terms, the power is there. It's the timing that's off. That's why quick movements can feel harder than slow ones. Standing up too fast, turning suddenly, starting to walk without pausing. The body needs a moment to line things up. This isn't about losing ability. It's about how the system organizes itself now. When coordination lags, people often assume they need to push harder or move faster to compensate. But speed doesn't always help when timing is the issue. What may help instead is letting movements begin more deliberately. That could mean planting both feet before stepping forward, turning your head before your body follows, giving your nervous system a brief moment to set the rhythm. Carol didn't stop moving. She didn't slow her life down. She simply gave her body clearer cues. And that small change often helped her steps feel more balanced. This is another important piece to keep in mind. After 60, what feels like muscle loss is often a coordination change, not a loss of strength. There's one more piece that can help put all of this in context. Number one, it's a timing problem, not a protein problem. Frank is 69. We met him at the beginning of this video. Each morning, he still sits on the edge of the bed. His feet still touch the floor, and he still pauses for a few seconds. But that pause no longer feels confusing. Frank eats about the same way he always has. He hasn't added more protein. He hasn't chased new supplements. What's changed is how he understands his body. This is the part that helps it all make sense. After 60, muscle loss is often misunderstood. It isn't always about missing nutrients, and it isn't always about losing strength. More often, it's about timing. Signals take longer to arrive. Blood flow shifts more slowly. Background noise can make messages harder to hear. And coordination needs a moment to line up. None of that means something is broken. Think of it like an older orchestra. The musicians still know how to play. The instruments still work. But without a brief pause before the first note, the music can sound scattered. Protein is still important, but protein tends to work best when the rest of the system is ready to receive it. Long-term studies that followed adults over 60 have noticed a consistent pattern. Muscle response becomes more dependent on timing, coordination, and signal clarity than on simply adding more input. In simple terms, the body hasn't stopped responding. It just responds differently now. That's why small adjustments often matter more than big efforts. Pausing before standing, letting transitions finish, moving with intention instead of rushing through. These aren't treatments. They aren't fixes. There are ways of giving your body the conditions it may need to do what it already knows how to do. Frank still pauses in the morning, but now that pause feels purposeful, not like a problem. And that understanding may help shape how the rest of the day unfolds. Your body can still respond when you give it the right conditions. A quieter way to move forward. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Your body hasn't failed you. It's simply working under different conditions now. After 60, many changes don't show up as pain or illness. They show up as pauses, as hesitation, as moments where your body asks for a little more time. Those moments are easy to misunderstand. It's common to think, I must be getting weaker, or I need to push myself more. But often, what your body is really asking for is something gentler. A pause before standing. A moment to let signals arrive. A chance for coordination to catch up. These aren't signs of giving up. They can be a sign that you're listening. Nothing in this video was meant to promise results. Nothing here was meant to replace medical advice. This is simply an invitation to notice what's already happening. and to respond with a bit more patience and awareness. If you start noticing those quiet moments during your day, you don't have to fix them right away. You can just acknowledge them. That alone may change how you move through your morning, your afternoon, and your evening. If this way of understanding your body feels helpful, you're welcome to carry it with you. And if you'd like more conversations like this, calm, grounded, and focused on real life after 60, you're welcome to spend more time with us here on Senior Health Prime. Before you go, I'd like to ask one simple question. Have you noticed a moment like this in your own day? A pause, a hesitation, a quiet signal from your body? If you feel comfortable, you can share it in the comments. Others may recognize themselves in your story. Thank you for spending this time with us.